Hi there, I welcome you back to my channel. Please subscribe, comment, like, and share. Your continued support is truly appreciated. In today's world, we live in a society where rights are not just words on paper, but the foundation of our existence. Basic human rights empower us to be who we choose to be, and to express ourselves without fear and to live our lives authentically. Regardless of our gender, we all deserve to be treated with respect and dignity, free from judgment, discrimination, or even ambitiously losing our lives. Sadly, I bring you for tragic incidents involving transgender women. Here are their stories.
Vanity Williams, a 34-year-old Black transgender woman, was an Air Force veteran who had recently begun nursing school, with the goal of opening a med spa. Tragically, before she was able to realize this dream, she was shot and killed in Houston, Texas on August 3, 2024. Vanity's friends described her as someone who would always make you smile or laugh, and who created and made a safe space for everyone. Grieving her loss, they spoke to her passion for lifting the Black community and women, and her ability to speak truth to power about what it means to be a woman, what it means to be a woman of color. Vanity was also connected to HRC, though her close friendship with Johnny Wright, a community advisor of HRC's Next Level program. In remembering Vanity, Johan says, "Words can't explain the pain that cuts deep into my soul. She was my friend, my sister, my heart. Never knew your last text to me would be WID. I will always hold a special place in my heart for you and continue to fight for you and our community." Vanity's memory will clearly live on in the hearts of her family and loved ones. Her light will continue to shine through those she has touched. On social media, where she also went by Chanel Williams, friends and loved ones reminisced about her resilient soul, brilliant mind, and beautiful spirit, and her love of makeup, nail art, and fashion. A GoFundMe has been created to provide support for her family and cover funeral expenses. Across social media, Vanity's friends echoed a quote she often said, "I don't fear death. I fear injustice." Vanity spent her life serving her country and community, and she should still be here today, continuing to pursue her own dreams. Instead, in another senseless death, she was let down by the same forces that continue to plague our community: transphobia, misogynoir, and gun violence. I grieve alongside her loved ones, including those in our Next Level community.
In other top stories, Houston police have released this surveillance footage in hopes of arresting a man accused of killing a woman.
This all happened late last night in southwest Houston. HPD says the woman was seen walking with the suspect just before the shooting. Officers then found her shot to death in the courtyard of an apartment complex on Concourse Drive. That's near the Beltway and Bissonnet. If you know anything, call Houston Police or Crime Stoppers.
The SWAT team arrests 26-year-old a week after Vanity was killed at downtown Houston apartments. Police charged Tristan Sanders with murder in connection with 34-year-old Vanity Williams' death. Sanders' arrest happened in Luling, Louisiana. He's behind bars at the St. Charles Parish Jail, awaiting extradition. My condolences go out to the family and friends of Ms. Williams. May she rest in peace. Here I bring you the story from Baltimore, Maryland. Taivion Lathan, a 24-year-old Black transgender woman who also went by Tai, was tragically found dead in a neighborhood in East Baltimore, Maryland on Sunday, August 4. Tai's death is at least the 24th violent killing of a transgender or gender-expansive person in 2024. Tai's aunt said she was just who she was, a very outgoing person, a sweetheart. Tai's best friend said, "There's so many hearts breaking open out here. How can you wake up every day knowing what you did? It's terrible. Tai didn't deserve to be in no alley."
Yes, we did. Taivion Lathan was 24 years old. She died not far from her West Baltimore home. The body of 24-year-old Taivion Lathan was found Sunday in an alley off North Monroe and West Landville Streets. Police say they got a call about an unresponsive person. An autopsy proved someone shot her.
We went down to the area to memorialize, to show that we're standing in truth, and also show that we're standing in our own self, in our own presence.
She was very loving, she loved everybody. She was very funny.
Her friend Corinne Davis is extremely hurt by Lathan's death and worried about other violent attacks.
I can't take no more. I'm tired of losing my people. I'm tired of having to be scared to be myself. I'm tired of having to like walk on eggshells because I am who I am. Like, she didn't deserve that. She didn't deserve to not be here.
Maryland Safe Haven says Lathan's murder is a stark reminder of continued violence against the transgender community. The group believes a lot of it is not getting reported or publicized. It is calling on police to do more. Mayor Brandon Scott says police are diligently investigating all kinds of violent crime.
And we're going to continue to work alongside the community, the LGBTQ plus community, to make sure that we're doing everything to protect them, just as we do everybody else in the city of Baltimore. For me, it does not matter. We know that we've had 14-year-olds, we've had older folks killed in the city. Every single body, every single person, individual in the city of Baltimore, lives matters to me.
Tori Cooper, Director of Community Engagement for HRC's Transgender Justice Initiative, says, "As transgender Americans, we shouldn't be afraid to be who we are. The impact of anti-trans violence negatively impacts our mental health and our ability to live healthy and happy lives. We all must end the harmful rhetoric and policies that make it less safe for us to live and thrive. Violence is not just within fists and guns, it's also with laws and words." A GoFundMe account has been created for Tai, and the link will be listed in the description section. My thoughts and prayers go out to the Lathan family. This is 20-year-old Gurley, a transgender woman from Little Elm, Texas. She was killed in Denton, Texas on July 23, 2024. She was found unconscious with multiple stab wounds by police and was subsequently declared dead at a local hospital less than an hour later. Dylan would have been 21 on August 18, and her family is also hoping to use funds to celebrate her birthday, as well. "We are just trying to put the pieces back together as best as we can and would truly appreciate any and all help," Dylan's sister wrote in the GoFundMe description. Dylan was experiencing homelessness at the time of her death, which further marginalized her. At the moment, little is known about Dylan's death and no suspect has been found. Dylan is at least the 5th transgender person to be murdered this year while experiencing homelessness, and this is tragically not a coincidence. Studies show that 30% of transgender individuals have experienced homelessness at some point in their lives, which further endangers them and puts them in the path of fatal violence. Dylan deserved safety while she was alive, and now she deserves justice. Texas unfortunately remains the state with the highest number of anti-trans murders in the nation. As of this writing, Dylan is the 36th trans or gender-expansive victim of fatal violence identified in Texas since HRC began tracking fatal violence in 2013, with Texas accounting for more than 1 in 10 of all victims HRC has identified to date. All but one of these 36 victims were transgender women, and more than half, 55.6%, and equals 20, were Black transgender women, specifically. In an injustice compounding this tragedy, Dylan was misgendered in some media reports and in her medical report. Anti-transgender stigma is exacerbated by callous or disrespectful treatment by some in the media, law enforcement and elected offices. According to HRC research, it is estimated that approximately 2/3 of all known victims were misgendered by the media and/or by law enforcement. At the state level, transgender and gender non-conforming people in Texas are not explicitly protected from discrimination in employment, housing, education, and public spaces. Texas does have multiple anti-LGBTQ+ and anti-transgender laws on its books, and does not include gender identity as a protected characteristic in its hate crimes law. We must demand better from our elected officials and reject harmful anti-transgender legislation at the local, state and federal levels, while also considering every possible way to make ending this violence a reality. It is clear that fatal violence disproportionately affects transgender women of color, especially Black transgender women. The intersections of racism, transphobia, sexism, biphobia, and homophobia conspire to deprive them of necessities to live and thrive, so we must all work together to cultivate acceptance, reject hate and end stigma for everyone in the trans and gender-expansive community. On Friday, July 19, 2024, Monique, a 49-year-old Black transgender woman, was found shot in Orlando, Florida near the Florida Mall. She later died after being transported to the hospital. Monique's death marks at least the 22nd violent killing of a transgender or gender-expansive person in 2024 and the third in the state of Florida, making that state the deadliest so far this year for transgender or gender-expansive people. Monique Brooks' sibling Leisha described her as fun-loving and smart. Others remember Monique as an amazing hairstylist. Every year on her birthday, Monique centered causes that people should support, including for LGBTQ+ rights. In an article which identified Monique as Jade Monique Thomas, Monique's sibling, Leisha Paul, described her as someone who was unafraid and lived her life out loud. Paul also asked for help from the public in learning more about the circumstances of her death, noting, "She did not deserve this. If anybody knows anything or has seen anything or hears anything, you can be anonymous. We just want to know. We want justice for her." Monique was actively involved with Divas in Dialogue, an Orlando-based sisterhood that empowers and supports transgender women of color, who is currently raising money to pay for funeral expenses and support her family. Tori Cooper, Director of Community Engagement for HRC Foundation's Transgender Justice Initiative, says we've lost yet another Black trans woman to gun violence. Monique was a gem of a person who should be with us today. We call on Orange County to exhaust all possible means in securing justice for Monique. As a community, we grieve Monique and know that her bright spirit will live on through her loved ones. Vanity Williams, Executive Director of Divas in Dialogue, said, "Monique was one of the sweetest souls I've ever known. She has always been the life of the party and willing to help anyone in need. She will be truly missed. Her kindness and outgoing spirit will never be forgotten." Gun violence disproportionately impacts the transgender community. To date, almost 6 in 10 of all victims of fatal violence in 2024 were killed with a gun, including Monique. Tragically, her death occurred less than 3 weeks after the deaths of Shannon Boswell on July 2, 2024, in Atlanta, Georgia, and Kenji Spurgeon on July 1, 2024, in Seattle, Washington, both of whom were Black trans women who were killed with a gun. Nationally, more than 25,000 hate crimes in the U.S. involve a firearm each year, which equates to almost 70 cases a day, according to a 2023 report from Everytown for Gun Safety in partnership with HRC and the Equality Federation Support Fund. Remembering and honoring Pulse, anti-LGBTQ bias in guns are taking lives of countless LGBTQ people. Losing yet another trans woman, another trans sibling, to horrific gun violence is infuriating and tragic. Kenji deserved to fully live out her life. She had aspirations and goals, family, and friends. At barely 23, Kenji had so much more ahead of her. We must all continue to fight back against the ongoing senseless violence against trans people, especially Black trans women, and particularly against gun violence of any and all kinds. Shannon lived her life out loud. Her death is a tragedy for her friends and family and the Atlanta community. And those who knew her, loved her. Too often trans women like Shannon are killed by people that we know. If we can't trust people that we know, then who can we trust? My thoughts and condolences go out to all the victims' family, friends, and the community in today's story. May their stories shed some light on the growing problems we face today in our society. We all must do better to be better. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it to be informative. Please subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell for more stories like this one. If you would like to support the families in our story, that information for our victims will be listed in the description section. Until then, I'm sending love and light to everyone and please stay safe. Thank you for watching.